What's up? What's up? All right. Grand Rising. How y'all doing today? All right, let me get this stream cooking here. Yeah, I appreciate y'all. Yeah, my phone died, so I literally slept through NFP. It's so embarrassing. I was like, woke up, I'm like, it's a little brighter than usual. Check my phone. Huh. That doesn't turn on. So here we are. What's up, guys? A very very basic start. Such a noob. Doing well. All right, what's up, Julian? Oh, we got the whole squad in here. What's up, Seth? Brinton. I don't think I recognize your name on here. Welcome. Top of the morning. Tradetopia, what's good? Greg, Patrick, Sen, Omar. All right, what's up, everyone? Took profit, called it a day. Well done. NZD USD sell is getting ready. 85% of the way to passing phase 1. Sick, dude. Nice. I know. I think our boy Vicente also is like around the same thing. ¿Qué tal, Rodrigo? Mailen, ¿cómo están? All right, so we got, obviously, we already had some volatility not too long ago, about 20 minutes ago. So we got some markets moving along. But before I dive into everything here, I'm gonna go ahead and send out a link, do all that good stuff. We got a pretty good rejection on NGD USD in this zone, so we did get the mitigation already. I'm gonna recap yesterday as well. We had really good setups yesterday. Who was able to take advantage of this idea here? Who took the buy? Come on. We went over this one yesterday live. Who took the buy? Who took the buy? And the sell, right? I said we're going to pay attention to the lagger. So whether it was AUD USD or NZD USD. But yeah. Obviously did a 1 to 2. Nice. Okay, just some of you. So yeah, guys, if you wanted to see the full breakdown, definitely go check out yesterday's stream. We had Dow Jones. The buy was so fire. Went crazy. Then we had AUD USD. Yeah, it was a good session. All right, let me go ahead and share this. NFP, New York Open, live stream. Sweet. All right. 1 to 3. Well done for Oddcat. Nice. Hollywood, sniped AUD USD with you. Appreciate the zone you sent. Don't check Forex pairs as much. Yeah, same. I don't trade it as often, but when the setup's there, I mean, it's good to take. NGDUSD also gave us the setup. Did go ahead and drop about 30 pips or so. I think about 25, with a risk of about 10. So for the 2R traders, I think that was right there for you. And then it looks like the other setup that's available right now is going to be this one right here. Had a nice sweep of the high before the market drops. So we'll be going over a few things here. I'm not rushing to sell this or anything like that. I want to go over a couple things with you guys, but just to keep you all in the loop here. Okay, so with indices as well, how'd you guys end up doing? We ended up pulling all the way back on indices yesterday. Yesterday was hectic, right? We got the move down to here. So we got all the way up into the zone. The push to the downside on NAS and Dow. Dow ended up playing out of that zone we actually marked up as well yesterday over here. So I don't know if anyone caught this move and then popped off again. So the market is extremely aggressive this morning. NFP with a huge move, clearing up all sellers. I think if we zoom in, I do think that we might. We may actually see the markets, and remember the zone that we had marked up here from yesterday as well? Huge drop, like 400 points almost from the zone, about 350. So nice short from there as well. I think right now some of you may be paying attention to the way that the market came below here at the end of New York session, traded below for Asian, and then now is sitting kind of right around this level. So the thing is, going against the overall momentum does make these setups a little bit less likely. So when you start to look at something like this and okay, do I want to get involved at these levels, you start to run into these kind of issues where it's like, okay, what's the market's real target? Does it want to fulfill the intraday price action, or is it looking to work its way down? So we're going into the new hour here. You had a big move up here, big spike before everything kind of turns right back around. And then we're looking at whether it's S&P 500 as well, NASDAQ and Dow. NAS is the one that's lagging behind. It's the only one that hasn't created a higher high. Dow Jones is liquidating those levels. So yeah, I mean, at this time, I totally understand a short from here. I would say it's a bit more risky, but I understand the position that you could be looking for a sell from this zone. So if you guys are looking for shorts, totally get it. But just be aware, right, that at this point in time, it's a little bit of a riskier idea. Entonces, básicamente, si están aquí, posiblemente podrían ver el mercado caer de aquí. So, not even riskier because you set your risk, but the probabilities, you start to lose some of those probabilities. So, at this point in time, you know, here's where you started to see some resistance, the market drops, goes up again, and then we see it all pull back. This is where we confirm our lower low. So when the market, for example, over here came back up, now the question is this the mitigation? That's the big thing you want to really keep in mind. Was this right there when the market comes back and plays out of this order block? Is this where it closes out the rest of that move? So you could either go to a smaller time frame, really refine your entry over here, and right over here, right, you see resistance, pulls back down, resistance, pulls back down, and then it just, from right here, we just get a massive push. So we see the market come back to this area, and when we get to right here, based on the way that the market starts to reject, we clearly do see some sort of exchange of money. The question is it just the order block or is it the entire movement? And so you can start to zoom out a little bit. And again, I took my short right here. Right, I'm in the sell from way up here. I took this at a smaller risk size. So I did risk less than usual, because especially since we're going against the trend, Dow is on fire right now. You know, it's higher highs and everything like that. But since it's also it's cleared up tons of liquidity, and this also set up. Let me zoom out real quick for in the market here. You know, we're trading at these higher time frames as well. So at this point in time, I'm like, you know what? It's worth for me taking a risk, not a massive risk. And that's one thing that you guys can always consider, especially if you're maybe counter trend trading or anything like that, is it worth like your full R, or are you better off trading with a smaller size? So yeah, the good thing is, even if you're trading with a smaller size, what you can see out of this, something like this, is, okay, well, what's the risk reward? What's the risk reward of something like this? Because let's say you traded half R. Here's an example, right? Let's say you took a trade like right here, and you took this at about, instead of your full risk, you took it at half a risk. Okay, but let's say you're gonna take your profit over here, so you would be taking a 5R, but if your risk is half, then it's still a 2.5 R in general. Like, you're still, if going back to what you would have actually made usually, you still would have collected 2.5 times your normal risk. So I think a trade like this, even if you're going with a smaller size, is still pretty substantial. Cool. So out of that, you know, obviously we've seen the market make some pretty good movement. NASDAQ here has swept and then ran, so it's looking good over there as well. Let me go ahead and share this. Forgot to share this here. One sec. Like I said, this is not a high because of the counter trend nature, and also since you're like, is this the mitigation? You know, did we see the exchange from sellers to buyers right there? For those reasons, I totally understand why you would want to actually not see this as like a textbook setup. Like, that is clear in my opinion. So going into this with less certainty kind of makes sense. Okay, so we can just let this thing do whatever. And now what we've seen with after NFP, I mean, such a bullish move. Like dollar is just struggling. Right, currencies against it are popping off. Our original AUD USD trade here from yesterday, right now would be running an 8R. An 8R. I only took, well, not only, still great, but I took a 3.6 on this idea. But what we're seeing now is we saw the big sweep, the rebalance, the continuation on Australian with NZD, similar situation, sweep of the low, continuation. So at this point, we're waiting to see, is there enough demand and higher highs for us to eventually maybe look for a buy over here. And then if you're looking at NZD made a huge spike down here as well. So big sell-off right there. And we haven't worked our way down to here. So I can actually check out, let me check out futures real quick. Because that could be a different chart. And futures, in my opinion, more precise. So yeah, look at this. With futures, it looks like it mitigated right off the open. So we see right here. Right there. Looks like it played right out of there, an exchange of money from the sell-off to the buy. So be keeping that in mind. You know, right now we're seeing Australian trading above here, New Zealand doing similar movement. Then we can take a look at something like Euro. Definitely didn't go as bullish, not even close, so not even worth really considering. And then GBP USD that worked its way down, but insignificantly. It's trying to go bullish, but it's really struggling to do that. So yeah, as we're looking at this, and you're looking at GBP, Euro still, in my opinion, the most bearish of the bunch over here, and NZD kind of working its way to a zone on the higher time frame that I hadn't really been at for a bit. So I think I'm going to stay out of the way of the majors today. USD CAD yesterday did a rejection right here, so it mitigated and then came right back up again. So right now, even with this, chilling. USD CHF. Now the setup that I was, we were talking about here the last couple of weeks was a short with USD JPY. And a short with USD JPY over here, what it's doing at this point is it came all the way up and it rejected right into this zone. So just so you guys can get more detail, we see it work its way up into this area, right into this imbalance. And I was, waiting to see, okay, where in this massive zone can I work my way in for a short? And I just wasn't seeing an entry, right? It was like, okay, let me just see some smaller time frames, or maybe I'll take a trade way up here. However, now we're seeing a little shift in momentum. Now USD JPY gave us the sweep of the high, and it's worked its way down. So for me, I feel pretty good about taking a sell now over here, including some smaller time frame action. So right over there. cool. So I like a short on USD JPY over here. Clear the highs inside of a higher time frame selling opportunity, and then now we're just kind of waiting around to see what we can get over here. Update, NASDAQ just kept going higher, so small L there on NASDAQ. So set your alert. Here's USD JPY. You have the higher time frame set up here. So big move up, worked our way down, and then we were within the zone where we can get a big sell. So now that we're seeing a micro structure, it's like a fractal version of it. You see the sweep of the high and then where you dip back down. So yeah, right up here, and then this short can be pretty significant. So yeah, I've been looking for an entry basically like right there. About a 40 pip short, and then see this thing melt away. So I think we can get a good play right there. And then conservatively looking for an imbalance fill. If not, maybe even working its way all the way down could be big, especially if we're within this structure, because you know when you zoom out here with NAS, like we're within the higher time frame structure. In reality, the market has been bearish. So if we're just kind of following along with this, then we're actually going back with the trend by taking a short all the way down to somewhere like here. And that looks like an 11.5 R. So that's a good one. Definitely worth keeping this one in mind here. So I'll give you guys a minute to kind of mark this up. Go to check out USD JPY, and this should be playing out of a Thursday's Asian session high. Caught the NASA yesterday. Nice, Seth. Tried clicking partial on gold sell, but closed the whole trade. Happens, man. Happens. It always happens when it's a winner, like a runner too. I swear. Okay, so you guys got this. Cool. Gold. So what do you guys think about gold? What are some of your price targets? What are maybe your entry targets? Let me know. I'm looking at gold as a whole bunch of liquidity. This looks like, oh my goodness, there's buyers for basically the last 3 weeks. Just lined up. Now for entries, I'm not really, so we saw the market rebalance up to here, and then it just played right out of the zone, so not bad. And you know, I think some of you are looking for the buy right here, right? This is what I think the consensus is. Like, oh, should I buy this trade? So you had during Asian session, you see the sweep to the downside right over here. So you see the market start to push down, start to get below some of this consolidation from New York and Asian session back into this level. And specifically, you have a drop here, another drop down, consolidation, continuation. What's up, Andrea, Sergio, Arshi? What up, guys? Edwin, Mylen, Carlos, Jose. So, okay, cool. That's gold. But what about silver? Could silver be giving opportunities as well? And I think, I mean, silver hasn't come back down to this area. So I'm going to compare gold and silver here. But yeah, I mean, this is a big sweep, higher highs, structure's bullish. We're holding bullish structure. We definitely haven't come back to close out this big sell-off over here from yesterday pre-New York session. So if we got silver that's holding it down, trading up in this range, and not even that, but it's also basically leaving liquidity here as well. I think we can get, yeah, I think we can get a nice little move here. So silver nearing 32.15 or under looks good. I have an alert set. Now I know you guys are looking at gold too in this zone. So I don't blame you for wanting to take a position. This was from Asian session. Silver doesn't really make the same kind of movement during Asian session. So right now it kind of is coming back and filling the imbalance from NFP or whatever they call it now. You know, they rugged us. We lost our beloved NFP. Now it's NFE, and it's just not the same, man. It's not the same. See, look, non-farm payrolls, they retired them. The OGs know. The OGs know. So, anyways, still call it NFP. Yeah, we'll always call it NFP. It's like here in Chicago, it's the Sears Tower, not the Willis Tower. It's a legendary. So yeah, okay, anyway, so if you took a buy on here on gold, I do think that it's that gold is a lagging in price action right now. Like right now, I do think that gold is more bullish. It's struggling to be as bearish as silver. We see that because we're just barely getting to kind of like 9 p.m. Central Time, so the Asian session range, whereas silver has just kept cracking below. So I understand the entry, and you can kind of see a correlation because you see silver is rebalancing and playing off the NFP level, and that's when at the same time you see gold get to here. My risk reward, this wouldn't have been ideal for me anyways from here, because I would have wanted a better RR. So I probably would have maybe let this drop down a little bit more. But if you are in a buy, I think you're good. I'd say just be aware, right? You got a 160 pip drop. So this right here should give you something like that. And then at that point, I would protect my entry. So yeah, if you're holding gold buys, then let them rip. Protect your entry for sure. Okay, so let me zoom out a little here. Natural gas, let's pull up some natural gas because I think we're getting closer to setups here. Okay, yeah. So I don't know how many of you trade natural gas. This might be very few of you, but for those of you that are trading futures, you can trade this on TopStep or Apex or whatever. For some of you that are trading CFDs, only some of you will probably be able to take something like this. So keep this one in mind. Figure out your contract size. That's going to be really important. But yeah, this is getting closer and closer to being able to sell. I'm probably looking to short way up here in this range, like right over here. But ready for this one. And this is selling off of price action from April 14th. So just so you guys, this is natural gas. These are the energy markets. right, welcome Max. Yeah, you guys can go ahead. I know we're about 10 minutes before New York opens. If y'all have your trading squads, here's where the markets are going to start to get really fun. Okay, so like I talked about, you know, with NASDAQ maybe struggling to get this short in because we already played out of here. So it was not a problem. That's how I went lighter with the risk. And from here, what are we seeing? So let's taking a look at indices again, because we're going to start seeing some nice volatility here. What are the opportunities now? How will the market move its way forward? Will this end up being a sweep of liquidity, and are we going to start seeing kind of a distribution? What's the move here? So there's a few things happening right now. Let's zoom out a little bit and let's see and get more detail with the market. We see, and I'm going to go to the 1 minute for this. So I'm going to go back down to where we started to see everything fall yesterday. So yesterday, we get this. Yesterday, the market here, right at the end of New York session, market flies, just absolutely rips, and then it dies. So we see this just melt away. So something like this. Huge move to the downside. Squeezes for Asian session until we get the move to the upside over here. So we get something like this with Dow Jones. Big move down. The market's building up sellers, retail sellers, and then it finally makes its move. So to me, it looks like we could get a rejection out of the zone. We could get a reversal here. Now, we end up trading above here. We rebalance a bit. Right now, we trade up to the zone, liquidate sellers again. So we're just all we're doing is clearing and creating a bigger range. Check this out, right? All we're doing is luring in sellers, taking out buyers. So taking out sellers, taking out buyers. This is the way that this has been moving over and over again. And then it'll give us intraday mitigations and then sweep up both ends. So we just keep getting more and more of that. So intraday exits, that's why they've looked so nice. If you guys are looking at natural gas, just go look at, I think it was April 14th. That's where it swept the high. Huh? Sí existe. For sure. Ahí está. So we see alright, gold's crossing. So that's probably, I think here we go. I think it swept the high. It probably kept pushing higher. Okay, so it looks like gold mitigated. So move your stops if you are in this gold buy. I know this is just a valid signature setup for us. So for those of you that were asking about it, you can go ahead and fill that. Move your stop up. So yeah, with Dow Jones, here we see the liquidity. Vemos la captura de liquidez, los altos más altos, confirmando altos más altos otra vez más. So I think that we can get an entry here. If this falls quickly, let's say if this doesn't hold it down, if this quickly drops, then, because I know another idea that I know some of you are probably looking to take is, well, Mike, we see the market clear this. Did you get the little doji right there? You see the push down, and then you see it continue. Right there. So with this one, you get the reaction, but I would want this to stay bullish. Like I would want this for us to create some demand. Otherwise, if we're just gonna get a big spike up and a big spike down, then this could just become a selling moment. Same thing if we take a look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ, similar situation, and kind of annoying, but it just cleared right above it and then made the move. So the question becomes, what's the intention? What's the intention of this push? Were we really meant to make higher highs and all that, or is this push post NFP just to liquidate all of these sellers, and then are we going to get just a massive drop? Because of course, we do have this move right here as well, just like Dow Jones. But what's the intention? Always the question. Because I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just break below this to work our way down to here. So yeah, right now, looks like the dollar's losing quite a bit of momentum. That's why we're seeing such a big push. And you can see that, oh my God, this is not the right watch list. I'll look at some cryptos in a bit too, because I know those are starting to make some moves. But yeah, NZD USD working its way up to these levels really well. Obviously, AUD USD is just still pushing. I'm holding very small positions with Australian too. And then we got, GU. So we got all of these dollar pairs that are losing momentum. NZD finally making its way into this area right here. And with NZD USD, if we zoom in a little bit more, I think we get the real push up here. So right over here, I think we could get the shorts. So you guys are liking the NZD USD sells, huh? This would make this very efficient. Comparing this to Australian, obviously there's a massive divergence. For those of you that like volume, we can take a look at that here as well. So I don't know, for those of you that trade like this, we're probably going to get with New York Open a bit more of a push as well. So if you're looking at something like that. You got this move right here. Less volume and more while we're at the same price. So might start to see this do its thing. You're talking about NZD CAD. So NZD CAD and NZD USD, are they the same trade though? So for example, NZD USD spikes up here at 245, April 29th. So this is the push to the upside before it worked its way down. Right around here. 230, 245. Okay. If you look at NZD CAD, are you seeing the same move? Like, I don't really see the same type of sweep of the high. Like, it's not really the same. These are just different. They're just trading differently. So I'm not really too focused on that. Peep, Nas, sell, discipline. Is that you, Tom? Is that the boy Tom? All right. So what's the consensus? We have, right, a little pump right here. So a little move here. Maybe that's what I think. Maybe you guys are asking about something like that, but let's see. Well, now we're at New York Open, right? So we're already seeing the open here. The 1 minute. Hold on. Let's get some visibility here. Going against momentum like this, I wouldn't really want to force something like here. Could it work? Maybe, but. Yeah. I mean, it's up the high, and then we traded. We're not even like maybe, but this is, I would say, definitely a low probability setup. I get it. Like, I get it. You had this right there, and then and then the move. So could I see it? Yeah, I can see it. Is it a textbook setup? I wouldn't say it's textbook, but I don't think it's a terrible trade. So, yeah, I mean, if y'all are, if you're feeling it, then I would say light risk on something like this, but not something I would go for with just like a normal risk size or anything like that. But it's like, at this point, you're kind of forcing it, I'd see where money comes in and sweeps the high. We just don't have tons of demand. That's the only downside to something like this, is that there's just not a lot of demand. So you're risking that that this drop here just was with a different intention. For example, the market comes down to here, and when it does work its way down, does it really, did it come down to fill in balance, or did it come down to mitigate? Or, you know what I mean? Did it come down to create a bearish structure? Or is it like, okay, cool, let's rebalance this, and then now let's move on with our lives? And that's kind of the downside to something like that. Same here with Dow Jones. We started to work our way down. It rebalanced the trend that we're in, not so much confirming the bearish structure. So I get the idea. I think that since there's a less chance of winning, you can, probably approach this with the different risk profile than if you're trading with the trend and you had a very clear mitigation setups, solid structure. So yeah, these are just ones that are like, they're okay, but that wouldn't classify under textbook setups. Now comparing the majors though, right, with NZD, obviously we're seeing NZD USD just about getting to this place where we can get a pretty decent move. NASDAQ is dropping now, so you are starting to get here a little bit of a drop, maybe 15 points or so from around this area. Now it's starting to move nice. So with a move like this, all right, now this is what I would consider at least some sort of mitigation. I would not keep the same type of risk here anymore by any means. And then everything is pretty efficient. So if this is going to play out, then you can see there's a chance, like right now, if it's going to go, then it would actually go high probability that it gets to here, because everything here is now pretty efficient. So if this thing is going to run, then you do have a high reward opportunity. Okay, there we go. So it looks like that might be the case. It's got to crack through this low though. Let's look at Dow. Dow is chilling. Oh yeah. So if you did take a NAS, I took a small risk trade here, but if you did take this, then I think you're gonna be okay. Just make sure you're not letting this turn into a don't let a winner turn into a loser. I would say important to just protect your money for sure. The next target probably for Dow would be probably getting closer to this area and then working its way down to here. And that's giving NAS quite a bit of a push. So pretty nice. Pretty nice. Cool. Anyone in shorts right now with me? Let me know. Let me look at the chat. Just a liquidity grab, I think. Edwin, Omar, okay. If we get a bullish imbalance on Dow, would the open New York candle be a good mitigation zone? Open New York candle be a good mitigation zone. Hold on. We're not really getting enough demand up here, so this is what you're talking about, right? Yo, NAS is melting. So you're saying this little drop? Nah, we didn't really get higher highs. The demand is really weak. So, yeah, I wouldn't really force that. I have my stop up about 20 points. So I already moved my stop all the way to here as well. Because especially since we're in a bull run, we're just ripping. You know, I'm okay with kind of lagging my trailing my stop a pretty decent amount. Okay, let me manage some positions here. 1 sec. So look at that. All right, big move down. We're starting to pull back a little bit. I'd rather play the more conservative game, you know, start to protect just in case. For all we know, this might be a liquidity sweeping event, and we end up, you know, reaccumulating. And I don't want to get caught with just nothing for getting a good move like this. So I'm gonna let this do what it's gonna do. When we get quick moves like this and we start to see a big move up, sometimes they're just rebalancing, and sometimes this was the inducement of sellers, and then it just turns around. So especially if we're going counter trend, why give so much back to the market? No point in getting nothing out of a setup like this. And then interestingly enough, now Dow kind of starts to make its move. So I wonder if NASDAQ actually might play out. Maybe my stop here is a little too aggressive, but at this point, that's fine. I don't really care. I'd rather get a little bit than nothing. And we'll just look at it. So yeah, turn right back around. And what you pointed out actually is what played out. It kind of played right off the open of New York session. This, I wouldn't take this trade anyways though, just because we didn't really get too much of a demand and we're trading significantly high in the range. So yeah, I'm cool with that. All right, now we just saw NZD/USD hit this alert here. It's absolutely ripping. So between AUD and NZD/USD, then definitely it's the lagging setup. If we're looking at something like GU and Euro, you know, we're trading at these areas. So here, the only thing that I don't love is just kind of where we're trading with Euro and GBP. With GBP, but everything is pretty efficient over here. So I don't think it's a terrible trade with NZD/USD. So checking this out. With futures, I'll give you guys a reference. This will probably be easier for those of you that trade futures. If you're trading futures and you want to take a short on 6N, right, let's say that's the case, then just so you guys are aware, if you were to throw like 4 contracts at this, you would be risking around $400 right now. Just so you guys kind of get a better idea of what that looks like for you. All right. So yeah, if you're trading, that's what that looks like. Just so you guys have some sort of reference. I know some of you are like, you just have maybe no idea. Okay, so yeah, that'd be from right around there. Now, okay, so going for something like this, what would the exit be? My exit would be just to kind of rebalance this. I wouldn't go for anything too far out, so I would actually push for right where we got that little drop right here. And then that looks like a 2.45R, so I'll take that. Okay, starting to get the reaction. Decent. We'll be moving my stop to break even when. Estoy en la venta, chicos, con NFP de USD. The sweep, the push up here was about 13-14 pips. So if we get a drop of about that amount, that's when I reduce my risk or move stop to entry. In this case, pretty good entry, so would just move it to the entry point. But that's only if we keep working our way down. As of right now, I haven't moved anything. It's just the trade is what it is. Okay, oh, look at that. So Dow spiked up and back down. What's Nas doing? Now Nas is just kind of chilling. Curious to see how this develops here. Interesting. So zooming out a little bit with indices, what are we noticing, guys? We're noticing that the market, at least with Dow, is holding structure actually very well. It's trading up here. It's been trading up here. So the last hour, the market's holding up pretty well. I do think that if it comes down to Dow Jones or NASDAQ, either or, I think there is a good opportunity at taking buy setups here, because we've traded for enough time here, right? We've been here for an hour and a half almost. So if we do end up working our way down to here at some point, then I do think it's worth taking a shot at the market. I'll just be mindful to, which indice gets there and gets here last. So whichever one is just not the one that's falling less aggressively would be the setup. If you are waiting on NZD USD, I guess you have the entry still here. So for this, because Euro, very efficient trading, GBP USD as well, if we look at GU, into these areas, the market's just rebalancing or mitigating really well. I think NZD USD has a decent shot at playing out. It follows all of the qualifications for the setup. All right, clearing the high, rebalancing, making lows, trading down here. Obviously, it's pulling back quite a bit. So now, my question for you guys is this. You're you're seeing the market go towards your stop loss. At this moment in time, an exercise that you can do is think about, is this making you a bit more uncomfortable? Are you starting to maybe second guess a decision that you made? And if so, why? So, why are you feeling uncomfortable about it? Because the thing that we want to do is what we want is to understand if we really had made the decisions, the right decisions. Was your risk what it needed to be? Were you fully committed to your risk as well? Because maybe that wasn't the right play for you. Maybe you should have been risking less. But if as soon as it starts going, let's say, against where you wanted it to go, when that starts happening, which it did for a bit here, when that starts happening and you're feeling something, these are all signs. Like, these are like the best signs, because then you're starting to realize, like, okay, if you dig into it, then you can start to dissect the cause of your behaviors and your emotions. So let's say that, for example, you guys are all probably at different stages. So maybe you're newer and you go, oh, it's going against me. Okay, well, so maybe the expectations of trading are not matching your belief system. That's an option. Or maybe you've been trading, but you're kind of figuring out a strategy. Or maybe you're new to my channel and you're just like, fuck, why the fuck am I listening to this dude? Who the fuck is this guy? Like, this guy's gonna blow my account. So cool. Maybe it's a belief system in following others or in my approach to the market, right? That's totally a possibility. Or you're seeing you're going from strategy to strategy, and you're just like, okay, fine. I'll use this sort of like smart money, Wyckoff, whatever entry model. But is that really a good one? That's an option too. You're over leveraged. You're always gonna feel shitty, even if you're winning. You think it's good, but it's not. That's another option. So there's a lot of different things that this can be rooted from. You just have to be fully transparent with yourself. When you have that, then you'll have more peace of mind in the outcome of whatever the idea can be. So right now, it's inching closer. When you can comfortably kind of see it go towards your stop and kind of ride it out in either way. But sometimes, you'll get a setup where you get all the way here and then it goes. But what happens? You start to panic. And if you close too early and then it goes, then you're like, why did I do that? Why didn't I trust? It's not even trusting yourself, it's trusting the system. And if you can't trust the system, or if you're trading, then are you even trading your system, or are you trading your feelings? So just a couple of things you want. Or are you trading your desires? Indices dropping. Are they now? Huh. Damn, I got rugged. What's interesting is how the momentum flipped. The momentum definitely flipped here with indices for sure. We had Nas kick things off a bit more bearish first. And then Dow kind of flipped its momentum on its head. So it looks like once it cleared up this last time here, it started to distribute over here. Decent. I'm not necessarily looking to short yet or anything like that. I'm not looking for any new entries. At this point, I think the best thing that I'm going to be patient for here is a possible buy setup. So it looks like NAS is holding up pretty well up here, which could lead to buying opportunities once the market eventually works its way back down. So that's what I have on my radar right now. NZD kind of just chilling up here, about 6 pips away from my stop. So just, whatever, gotta do what you think. Okay, in the meantime, so yeah, this came back, took me out in profit here, and then so this fully rebalanced and then dropped. I could have, I guess, gone to reduce risk here, but we were going against the trend, and I'm not trying to give the market all that. Like, I'm not looking to get stopped out on a counter trend trade. So, gotta live with my decisions. But yeah, this would have been like, that would have been nice. On the plus side, this is giving us a different opportunity though. So we can keep in mind the possible entry on for longs with indices, and remember, you have the entry down here. This is a possibility. So we got this would be trading out of the Asian session, right? Mitigating Asian session low. So there's the London session low that can be traded, that can be mitigated, and then there's the Asian session liquidity sweep. So there's basically 2 different key areas here, and Dow is the one that's dropping way more aggressively at the moment. So we're seeing below a 50% pullback at the moment, approaching that 618. And NAS chilling, sitting at around, I think, like a 38.2 pullback. So at the moment, right now, it could change, but right now it looks like NAS would be the buy, in my opinion. And you even get a little drop right there before it goes. So probably somewhere maybe around that 786 looks like a good idea. Quick update with NZD USD. You haven't blown your account yet, so we've already gotten about a 9 pip drop. This could keep going now. You should be in some sort of profit. All right, so who didn't panic and who just kept doing it? How can I lock in on Tradetopia? The links did say the first 100 people need to be in that. There's just gonna be a reward, a little incentive for locking in the first 100. You guys will get updates on how to be involved. Our priority first is just making sure that you guys get a ton of free value in the beginning. You guys will be able to go through the different boot camps that we have in there, and you guys will go through what we're going to do this one live. So I'll be dropping all this in a few days, but there will be a traders reset, a recalibration. So complete hard reset on the internal, so that you can go through the ups and downs of the market and basically, truly be able to trade your system and get a good idea and all that. So you guys will be getting access to that for sure. Yeah, you'll get direct update if you follow my newsletter, or if you opted in on the brand reveal video. Just drop a Tradetopia in that brand reveal video on my Instagram. Then you guys are gonna get updates instantly. But you guys will see a post. I'll drop it here. I'll drop it everywhere. Didn't panic. Thank you for the insight, Mike. For sure. Riding 6N, win, lose, or draw. Nice. Solid. So we're starting to get a good reaction right here. All right, we saw a good reaction. Looks like money came in, pushed it down. The question is, how well is this going to keep doing this movement? So it looks like we got an exchange of money, but are we going to keep pushing down again after this? Because the drop that we saw so far was about, a little over 10 pips. And then if we zoom back, if we go to the original move, which is up here, I have this marked up as how much here? Like I said, like 14 pips, right? Yeah, a little under, like 13.8. So I want to see it drop a bit more. Didn't panic. Well done, guys. Well done. Looks like Nas is holding up really well. Dow pulling up a little bit, not too much. So we may see Dow actually work its way even lower here. I wouldn't, as of right now, it doesn't look like Dow Jones is going to be the buy. Parece que la compra va a ser mejor aquí con Nasdaq, chicos. Another thing is that we don't have any other high impact news. Shorted US 30 15 second. That's the most Yamane thing I've ever heard. Let's see, what are you doing over here? Like you shorted it up here or you shorted it right now? Yeah, I went on the microseconds. I actually went back in time. Let's see, what'd you take? Maybe this is the only one that I feel like I could see you taking. Right over here. All right, so working our way back down. Dow, working some magic. 50% pullback in this zone. Nasdaq starting to work its way down. Cool. Let's see. We've been like one person away from hitting 100 on the stream for like the last, I think like 20 minutes. Someone pull up. What are y'all doing? I don't know. All right, so we're making that move. So here's what it looks like could happen. It looks like we might get Dow down to this area, and that may end up positioning Nasdaq to kind of respect the move. I am going to be. It should wait a little bit. Still waiting for my funded credentials. That's hilarious. Congrats as well. But yeah, I think with an entry here with Nasdaq, I'm not going to hold this too long. I'll probably take an exit right here. So I think I'm going to take a push, something like this. I'll take an idea around here. Like right around here. And then, you know, here we've seen quite a bit of, dang, I actually don't love this RR. I'm going to play it by ear, but something generally, roughly like this looks okay. Just because here we have a nice little push down in a rally, so we may see the entry over here. There is a little bit of imbalance, so there is a shot that it gets all the way down to here. However, this is obviously much more likely. And then seeing in the way that this is moving, I think we can afford a 2R over here. If this just kind of bleeds through, we might just be able to rebalance. But I don't have full conviction yet in like a huge, just letting this, you know, fly. That's because we left this over here too. So we might get a nice little bounce. I'll be quick to protect my entry. And then if it comes even lower, then we'll take care of that if it gets there. NZD fighting. How has odd USD worked its way down? Okay, dropping a little bit. Euro, GU. So, I mean, if we look at the rest of these, and it does look like we made the right choice, at least shorting NZD rather than the rest. So that's good. If we take a look at something like, let's see, USD CAD. USD CAD swept liquidity, and then it's starting to reverse as well. Looks like this could continue to push. And then, wow, USD JPY just kept falling. So it didn't give us a shot. We'll have to check back in on that a little bit later. So let's go review what's gold doing. So gold mitigated, did the reversal, and then now working its way back down. So cool that, nothing else to do here with gold. I'm chilling. Now, okay, so, comparing gold here and looking at silver. Silver is slowly approaching these buy scenarios over here. There we go. Okay, now we cracked through. 105 on the sesh. So let me ask you guys a question now. I have alerts set for NZ for silver if we get there. But my question for you guys is this: because trade management is very important here. How are you managing this trade? Have you done anything yet? Have you moved your stop? Do you have a rule for when you're supposed to do that? So at the moment, it came down. Looks like we're rebalancing. Because based on my approach and my belief with the market, if, for example, this was a 10 pip, if this pushes up, 13.8 pips, then based off of all my back testing and all the data and my own personal trading, the market should give me at least that 13.8 pips down. Haven't quite gotten that yet. So I do think that right now we're kind of rebalancing and we can still work our way down once again. And if that does that, then that'll allow me to move my stop and either reduce risk or to, even a smaller time frame structure. So let's say that the market here, just to give you guys more clarity, from here, let's just say that from here, it works its way all the way down. So then I could either move my stop into the structure or I just put it at entry. Some of you are going to constantly go back and forth with that. So same thing as always. Just gather up tons of data, tons of evidence, and then you'll be able to do it. What's up, Abby? What's good? How are you? How you feeling? All right, Dow, rebalancing, pushing. NASDAQ, ripping. So it's just creating more and more demand at these levels. This is giving us some higher confirmations that we're gonna keep pushing. And so let me take a quick move. I want to take a look at how's crypto doing now. Is crypto ripping right now? Okay, nothing too crazy. It's kind of just squeezing. Okay. Yeah, not much there. I wouldn't be taking any crypto positions. No chance right now. Can't really get a good read on that. We're definitely seeing some of these other coins making some moves. So like we had, what just happened here? Virtual just still going crazy. Casper, there you go, pushing. Dogger on 3. Looks like meme coins ran it up a little bit. That's about it. All right, cool. Nothing crazy. The AI, man, the AI coins are really pushing. Like virtual AI agent coin going nuts. One thing that I wanted to point out, I don't remember if I talked about this on here. I think I did. Did I? I'm not sure. But one thing that I'm noticing with Bitcoin dominance and I think I talked about this yesterday, but basically it looks to me like we're, for example, when we were topping out here with Bitcoin dominance, this is December 2020. And then eventually, December 2020 and then early January. When the Bitcoin was doing this, because I know a lot of you are invested, but when that was happening, Bitcoin was only doing this. Bitcoin was getting to these levels. Like it was reaching 40K for the first time. It wasn't doing this move. So I wonder, like, because we still have to see Bitcoin down. Well, we don't have to anything, but there's a good chance we still see Bitcoin dominance drop, and you know the crypto altcoins come in and all that good stuff. But does that mean that we have another pretty decent push left, or two? So I know a lot of people are like, oh, altcoin season isn't coming, blah blah. At the moment, I think it's still really likely because I don't think we've mitigated. We haven't kind of like seen the exchange of all the Bitcoin dominance and then the other way around. So I do think we still have that coming in, no problem. And then if we're looking at stablecoin too, there's a lot of stablecoin. Like the market could drop so much. How much is in just US dollar tether or USDC should still do its thing. So if you've been worried about that, I'm not, if that helps. Okay. Now, let's see where we're at. Okay, so let me make my way back here. Quick recap. And look at this monthly candle. Look at this monthly candle. That was Dow Jones monthly candle. Epic. The news was getting everyone so scared, so much fear. All the headlines. Swept liquidity, rebalanced, ripping. This kind of looks like one of these events, huh? Not the exact same. This is not even close, but a big liquidity push down before it ran, like this right here. Rebalanced. Off it goes. Rebalanced. Market's moving. NASDAQ, similar. Worked its way back to previous structure from 2021. Cleared liquidity from January 2024. And we're gone. S&P 500, same thing. Markets are looking good. Okay. So, I mean, everything's slowing down, guys. I don't think we really need to spend too much more time here just going over the same things. I have basically NASDAQ on my radar, looking to buy here, down here. For Dow, you know, Dow is kind of struggling to work its way down. It's not going up at the same pace, so let's see. Could there be a setup here for short? I would say it's not the best structure. In my opinion, there's a little bit of a move up here. Just slightly on the 15 second, but I'm not loving it. It's not abundantly clear. There's not a clear liquidity sweep structure created. Right now we're dropping, quickly coming back up. It's just, can we get back down here? I think so, but I would rather just keep up with the momentum. You said check out oil? Yeah. Okay, look at the Japanese. Look at the Nikkei. A lot of liquidity here. The chances of us getting a sweep today, though, I think are pretty good at some point. Longing out of where? For right now? Or at it here, you're saying? Nah, I'm gonna chill on that. Today's Friday, right? Cool. So, yeah, I'm not gonna keep rambling, guys. I think that's just about right. We're continuing to reaccumulate and reposition, and at the moment, I'm gonna keep taking longs. At some point in time, I do think we'll work our way back down to, right around here. Like, I think we'll get back down to closer to 40K again. But until then, unless otherwise, we haven't seen a flip in structure. So if we start to see a switch on the 15-minute, then maybe we can start looking for longer term shorts. But for now, the longs are kind of just making the most sense, and especially with NASDAQ. So do I think we can work our way all the way back down to these like April 30th levels? Yes, I think at some point. Does it have to be right away? Not quite. So gonna stay on the lookout for that. And then last update here with NZD, it's kind of just chopping up now. And it looks like Australian's price action is slightly better, slightly less bullish. So I'm still holding this idea. If you're very conservative, then cool, maybe you already adjusted your stop. But I'm going to just kind of let this play through. And ride it out. So that'll be me. And then, yeah, guys, so appreciate you all. Stay on the lookout, all right? I'll be dropping tons of updates. I'm actually going to drop a video later today. I know a lot of you have been asking, like, yo, what happened? What's going on? What's next? So I'll be dropping a video on that later on. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for hopping on here and spending an hour and 25 with your boy. We'll be on Monday through Friday. Monday through Fridays live streams will be for the free ski. And then you guys will have access to community very, very soon with tons of videos and a lot more coming. So see y'all soon. Peace out, fam.